Mayor Parker and council members, thank you for listening to me. I won't be very long. I'm pleased to be one of the lawyers representing Greater Houston in litigation. And one thing that I want to lift up that concerns me, and of course I know that all of you have studied the issue, and so a lot of other speakers I won't preach to the choir. But one thing I wanted to lift up for you to think about, and that is that we all love this wonderful technology. I get texting and faxing and all that stuff mixed up and can't keep it straight, but imagine that you were running for election to your office and that your opponent had the advantage of being able to use this technology, say a cell phone or iPhone, and you didn't. You would be running a campaign with one hand tied behind your back. And that's essentially what happens here.
Thank you, sir. Your time has expired. Thank you.
Congressman, and I might be impelled to go out and get my own funds so I can keep up. The chair recognizes Councilmember Boykins.
Motion to extend, Mayor.
There's no. You wish. You may ask him a question if you wish. You may ask him if he wishes to continue.
Congressman, will you continue, please?
Okay, Congressman. Councilmember, ask the Congressman if he has some.
Give me your
opinion. Can he
opinion
complete his remarks?
Well, Congressman, can you give me your opinion on why you think one may have more of an advantage than the others?
Yes, sir.
Based on the technology analysis.
The taxi cab industry, as you very well know, council members, is very well regulated. The technology allows an opportunity for Uber and Lyft and perhaps other companies to compete directly with them. And the analogy I was attempting to make was that if you had an opponent who could get votes through one of those, but you couldn't get votes through one of those, you would understand the same disadvantage. And I think that's the problem. They can cherry pick where they want to serve and not serve many areas, and it basically amounts to redlining. And that's not good for the city of Houston. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. Mr. Washington, thank you for coming down here, giving us your expert opinion. So if we don't act on this now, what are the effects in the court here?
What does that mean?
To extend time, you can't extend his time, you can extend the councilman's time. Moving to second discussion, favoring opposed, motion carries. Go ahead.
Again, ramifications of this.
Thank you, Councilmember Davis. It's my considered opinion that what is created is an unequal playing field. And for those who have to follow all the regulations, and they do follow the regulations, they're in one category. For those who don't have to follow those regulations, they're in a different category. And there's no requirement that they be required to serve the entire city of Houston, for one thing. So what do you think they're going to go and get the fare? They're going to get the most advantageous fares from the center part of Houston. They're going to leave all the areas and the outlying areas without representation at all, and they'll continue to be served by the existing taxi cab companies, which is fine, but you're putting them at a disadvantage, and I think at some point the courts will recognize that. It's my considered judgment that a temporary injunction or permanent injunction would be issued because there's not a level playing field.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Council members, in fact, they are required to serve the entire city. Councilmember Pennington?
Thank you for coming today.
I need a motion to extend. Favoring, opposed, motion carries. Go ahead.
I'm concerned about the ability to multiply the fees, which is kind of a redlining. Instead of a physical redlining, it could be a fiscal redlining, and I just wonder if you've studied that issue and have any statistics on that might affect it. I particularly thought that it might discourage people who've been drinking at night. If it was just a regular rate or twice the regular rate, they might be a lot more willing to take a cab or an Uber vehicle than they would with 4 times the rate, which is, I think, one of the objectives that's been stated for this. And I just wonder if you had any view on that.
Thank you, Councilman. That's a very thoughtful addition. I had not thought of that, but I agree with you that it lends itself to that possibility. And again, the city council wants to serve the entire city of Houston, and I think you're doing that now. And if I would beg and pray that you require the same standard to be applied to every company that wants to be a public transport company within the city of Houston.
Thank you.
Councilmember Green, start.
Thank you,
You
Congressman.
need to make a motion.
Move.
Favoring opposed, motion carries. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. With regard to the red line argument, and I think this issue came up yesterday, there's certain entities, i.e. Jitney, Wave, that don't service, that currently operate in the system that don't currently serve outside of 610, if you will.
Yes, sir.
Their business model was such that it would serve in there. Are you saying that perhaps a TRO or some sort of injunction should be imposed with every single transportation model, if in fact that's their business plan?
Well, as you know, thank you for the question, Councilmember Green. As you know, there are two standards. One is whether it is the intent, and the other is whether it is the effect. And the Constitution prevents those who have the intent of discriminating. It may not prevent those who have the effect of discrimination if it's not the intent.
And if the business model states that it's only a certain area, that is intent, because it's the intent to only serve a certain class or a certain group of people, not looking at the effect. Are we saying that whenever we hit those instances, those folks, if you will, are operating illegally or discriminatory?
Favoring opposed, motion carries.
Thank you very much, sir.